Welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm Daddy, and shall we see what's going on the lovely little island of Fawnhollow today, as I again just the placement of everything on my desk, because it's, I don't know, maybe it's a nervous fidgety habit now. Not really, it's not like it's particularly nerve-wracking recording Animal Crossing videos. They sort of just I don't know how else to describe it. There was no like sense of impending doom or pressure to perform or anything like that. Animal Crossing videos are just Animal Crossing videos, you know, they are what they are, as many things are. And the infamous words of Kesha, we are who we are. I think that's a Kesha song. I don't really remember, to be honest. Is Kesha still making songs nowadays? Probably. Hello everyone. Right now in Fawnhollow, it's 2:30 PM on Friday, July 9th, 2021. Oh, that's right. The weather report says for a rare treat tonight, shooting stars. Well, unfortunately, I might not be here. Fawnhollow lit by the glow of the sky bursting with shooting stars. What a magical sight that will be. If any of you have time tonight, get yourself outside and look up. I'll see if I remember to do that, to try and actually wish upon a star. Star. I can't go that low. Wish upon a star. Just, if you can't go that low, transpose it up a fifth or something. Do I know how much exactly a fifth is off the top of my head? It's 5. Bet you didn't see that coming. I don't. What was this bit? What was this joke? I have no idea. But thank you, Label, for what you're doing. Yeah. Question for you, dear. You know the way the sun goes away and everything gets real dark and boring. Well, how about if everything didn't need to get real dark and boring? Think about it. Good night, Claude. I honestly have no idea what that's meant to mean, Claude, and I hope it's not a threat. But yeah, let's go about our usual business today. Do I have anything to talk about in particular? I mean, there's a new Genshin Genshin Impact update coming, along with Shiny Colors new gadget change coming, but that's not until like tomorrow, I think. So, you know, can't really talk about that. I was gonna, paint my nails today, I suppose. I was in fact gonna do it like just now, when I was like, oh wait, I need to record an Animal Crossing video. Probably not a good idea to have painted nails and then like try and play using a Switch controller, which maybe I could do if that's something. Now, I'm not really much of a beautician or anything, but we'll be going to see a movie hopefully later today, A Quiet Place 2, because we seen Quiet Place 1 now. It's an interesting movie. I think it plays around with the atmosphere and the feeling, the thrill, the suspense feeling very well. I think it does have plot holes, but plot holes aren't really that important to me. I kind of don't care all that much, unless it really, really detracts on movie. In this case, I don't think it detracts on movie. I think it's just like a fun watch. It's along the same lines I thought of when I watched Tenet. Tenet is a thing where if you think about it too much, 1, it really hurts your brain, and 2, I think it's definitely starts to crumble, as many things do under the, time travel, if you try and hold it up to any sort of scientific rigor, because it's, as far as we know, not possible. So a lot of things are kind of a question mark, and especially the way that Tenet does time travel is considerably more different than a lot of other ways people do time travel. Which is not a knock on Tenet, because I think Tenet is actually a very enjoyable movie to watch if you don't even think about like the plot, because also the plot in Tenet is also kind of nonsensical, and also the audio balance is crazy bad. To be honest, it's very hard to hear anything in the action scenes and that sort of thing. But I think as like standalone set pieces, they are very interesting. It's very exciting to watch. I guess Tenet spoilers if you haven't seen it yet, but there's a few scenes where basically someone who's going forward in time is fighting someone who's going backwards in time, and the mechanics for it are mind-boggling the first time you see it. Not in like a awestruck, inspiring way, but more like in a what is going on sort of way. Like you're just confused as to how does this make any sense, and then you see it played forward and you see it played in reverse, and you're just like, oh, clever girl, And there's a sort of thing that I suppose if it was like not an entire, I can't remember how long a movie is, like 2 hours something, and instead was like a load of like shorts and like an ongoing TV series where they had like a 10-minute fight scene in the middle or something, it'd be really cool to see. And in fact, Tenet, maybe it's a controversial opinion, I think it would have been better as a TV series than a movie. I think it's a premise that you can sort of run with over multiple episodes and seeing the protagonist's story as it evolves, I suppose, over the course of the entire thing. Anyway, basically those battle sequences, those action sequences are really cool, and Tenet is basically, in my opinion, a series of really cool set pieces and sequences strung together with a very weird plot string. So it's sort of like if you watch cool action plot sequence, close your eyes for a little bit, and until the next one comes up and watch that and you're like, oh yeah, this is like the greatest movie ever, and it's totally not connected in any way, and it's very strange. I suppose it just sort of a plot goes around in circles a lot of times. There's a lot of just like, oh, meeting someone, oh, he has to go talk to someone else, he has to go talk to someone else, he has to go talk to someone else, and they intersperse it with cool things in the middle, which by the end, I'm not even much of an action movie person, but by the end I was like, I want more of that stuff was cool. But your mileage may vary when it comes to that sort of thing, so don't hold my opinion as fact. Who is our visitor? Is it Gulliver? It's not red. What missions do we have? Deep sea diving, talk to people, barred knife drawer, DIY project, and okay, hot item, hot issue. Hello, biscuit. Hello. I don't know. My Joy-Con just disconnected. Red. Didn't select anything. Yeah, it's a quiet place. I mean, I guess it's not quite the same as Tenet, because I don't think it was basically a load of set pieces strung together. I mean, I guess in some aspects you can kind of see it that way, but I feel like it's not like it's doing a disservice to the movie, but it's not like the most representative way of looking at the movie, I'd say. But it was pretty fun to watch. I loved atmosphere. I love movies which can build up like tension and atmosphere. And where did Lily go? Wasn't she literally here? Oh no, she was there. Okay, never mind. I was like, what? Lily, you have a very nice sort of like reading spot over here. This is a fantastic idea. It's like your mini backyard. You're tucked away. Yeah, Tenet really built up the suspense and terror and atmosphere really well, I thought. But there's not really much more of a butt to it. I mean, I suppose if you try and dissect like the actions are sometimes a little bit irresponsible from the characters, especially in my opinion. I think the one that annoyed me most is the parents not like looking properly after a 4-year-old child. Fair enough, it was a mistake in the story, and they acknowledge it later, being like, well, she was just like, I could have just told him, but and that didn't have to happen. But it's sort of just like a damn of it. If I was a parent, especially in an apocalypse, and I had a 4-year-old child, I don't think I'd ever let them out my sight. I think I'd have trouble letting any of my children out my sight, but maybe I'm a little bit too overprotective. On the other hand, it's an apocalypse, so with killer like blind monsters walking about that will absolutely murder you if they even hear your existence. So you can call that an over-exaggeration. I call that just trying to protect people I care and love for. But if you look past I mean, you don't even need to look past it. They're not really that important, like the small details. It's really fun to watch playing around at something tense, because it's a sort of thing like I'm trying to think, because like Five Nights at Freddy's, which number is it? 4? Did a very similar thing where basically you have to pay attention really carefully to the silence, because of course it's a quiet place. They're not allowed to speak, but everything is super quiet, and especially for like the first like half of the film, there's very little music going on, and only later on does music start of atmospheric music is played on during the background. There's very little, I should say, dialogue throughout the entire movie. I was thinking about it because Five Nights at Freddy's 4 plays around with a similar concept. Because if you don't know Five Nights at Freddy's, it's we're not going to talk about Scott Cawthon and whatever the heck he's been doing. Death to the Orphan and that sort of thing. Which I feel like I'd say every single time. Oh, Flick, hello, you are our visitor for today. We will just quickly check what our hot item is. We'll make it and get some insects for you, Flick, and then we will. Yeah, I guess we'll just do more mission farming. Disc bone door plate. It's not the one I want to click. So let me click the correct one. There you go. Yeah, Five Nights at Freddy's 4 played around with a similar idea, because oh yeah, sorry, I was explaining what Five Nights at Freddy's is. You're basically a stationary person, and you are being attacked by animatronics who will basically try and come up to visit you, and normally you look at like security cameras and you can like interact with doors and that sort of thing to try and keep them at bay, is the premise. But Five Nights at Freddy's 4, a lot of them try and change the formula, I suppose. Well, not change the core gameplay, but change the setting or the tools you have at your disposal, I suppose is probably a better way to put it. Did I scroll past it? That's a deer scare. That's feasible. And Bone Door Plate must use a fossil, so let's not even bother with that. With Five Nights at Freddy's 4, you are a kid in a bedroom, and you're basically having like, I don't know if it's clear in the Five Nights at Freddy's universe whether you're actually being attacked by these animatronics or these are like hallucinations and that sort of thing, or it's meant to be a metaphor or something. I don't know. The Five Nights at Freddy's universe is massively huge and people are very invested into it. I don't know, go watch a MatPat video if you're interested in the dissection of a story, because I am not. It's basically the only way I can put that. But it's cool because the way you play it is basically you have you're sitting there in your bedroom. In front of you is your wardrobe cupboard door, but to the left and right are two other doors that lead into hallways, and behind you is a bed. And it's basically a balance of checking each of these things and trying to find out if there's a monster there or not. And you know, you can't ignore any of them, otherwise you might end up dead, and that sort of thing. And now the ones of note are the ones on the left and right, because they're the ones where you don't, I don't think you have a flashlight in this game. I cannot remember. Or maybe you do? Yeah, well, maybe you do, but the thing is, if there's a monster, like if there's an animatronic like right outside the door and you use a flashlight, it will attack you or something like immediately. So what you're meant to do is you're meant to like go up to the door and you need to just like hold your breath and listen very, very closely to hear if you can hear like a silent breathing in the background going like. And if you hear that breathing, that means there is an animatronic basically right there, right next to you, willing to murder you. So you just like had to hold the door shut or something like that. But it's I thought it was interesting compared to the others, because all the others you tend to be looking at like a security camera, like watching all these stationary like rooms around the whatever location you're. What is this? A grasshopper? Why is a grasshopper in a bamboo cage? That's probably got some significance which I don't know about. Do we need to put anything away? Let's put this stuff away. Put it away, forget yesterday, we'll make the great escape. Sorry. I think we learned how to do all of these. This guy, done that, been there, done that. Yeah, because the previous we always use the security cameras as a visual medium of trying to know the animatronic's location, but the fourth one changed it up quite a lot, where you don't really ever know exactly where they are. You just know if they're directly next to you or not, and you had to basically play around with audio because the clues and sounds you're looking out for are extraordinarily quiet. It's even hard to hear them above the ambient noise, if I remember. Yeah, it's hard to hear them above the ambient noise. What else was I going to say? Which is almost in direct contrast of what you want for a horror game, is for you to basically, because it sort of like encourages you turn the volume up, listen closely, concentrate and really focus in, and make sure there's no sounds, and then it will get you with a jump scare with a very loud startling noise, just to make and that sort of extreme dynamic between the extraordinary the near silence to the loud noise they make is frightening. To say the least, and that's the point of it, you know. It's sort of to reel you in. It's like the game's cruelly beckoning you in, being like, come closer, closer, and then it goes rah in your ear, that sort of thing. And I suppose the sound of silence is always something which gives a lot of people unease for good reason, because it's nerve-wracking. I suppose there's not really much to it. It's just eerie, I suppose. And it reminds me of a story I read of a really, really cool like D&D story, which is one I want to incorporate if I ever do end up doing a D&D campaign, which, you know, of course is just something I talk about and never plan on actually doing, apparently. But I'm trying to think how to explain it. I'm not going to spoil exactly what a monster is, because maybe you never heard of a monster, and if it appears in your D&D campaign, or if you're one of my friends who I might eventually run a D&D campaign with, I'm not going to spoil it for you. But basically, they have a monster where they had to try and mimic a silence stopping, sort of, is how I'd phrase it. Basically being like, how would you phrase this? Well, maybe it's easier if I explain what we did. What we did is we basically had like ambient white noise, the background playing as well as like for generic music. And then, you know, when it came to tense situations, they turned off music, but they didn't turn off a white noise. So then, oh my gosh, you are fast. So then the players were just like, oh, this is quiet right now. But then, basically what happens is this monster attacks. Okay, I'm not going to catch you. You're way too much effort. You're clearly a crab or something. What this monster does is basically attack patterns is it sings, kind of, but it sings in such a way that your brain doesn't pick up the singing, I suppose is how I put it. And then, oh, maybe we should put these moon jellyfish around. Yeah, why don't we put any living creatures around in like the water area? That's an interesting thought. That is an interesting thought. If we just put like jellyfish and live frogs and things in tanks. Yeah, you use a jellyfish to sort of illuminate everything. I'd consider it. A vampire squid might not be a bad idea as well, because I believe they glow in the dark. Yeah, so this monster sings basically, but it sings in such a way that it's basically invisible to your ear. The melody it sings you can't remember or something. So in essence to you it's like there's nothing going on. But what it does is that's also how it kind of hides itself. And then when it attacks it stops singing. And then it attacks. And then it continues singing again. But of course to your mind, if you can't remember what the melody goes like, and if you're not aware the melody's going on at the same place, it's sort of just like a weird blip in the silence happens. So what they did is basically they turned off the white noise and then turned it back on again, and then they just had the character with highest perception go like, for a second you feel like, just a second, the silence stops. But no noise is made. There's something like weirdly unsettling and eerie about it when you have a white noise there which your brain is accustomed to, and then suddenly it stops, which is probably why silence is so strange in the first place, because like kind of everything makes a noise. I know that sounds dumb to say, but it's true, isn't it? There's very, very few things in the world which are truly silent, and then hearing nothing whatsoever is a very unsettling thing to hear, especially in lots of locations where you expect something. Like, I mean, of course, you can place it. Wait, hold on. Place it. Oh, I wish you were in a round container. Oh well. If you're in a round container, I would have used you as like a little lamp, but alas, you are not. Oh yeah, like the obvious example that people always use is like a forest or whatever. You expect to hear like birds calling, maybe like you hear like a soft rustling of a brush as like a rat or rabbit scurries around location, dives into the undergrowth and that sort of thing. Maybe you'll hear other things like I don't know, a deer call or a fox call or that sort of thing. Which, to be fair, if you hear a fox call, that might be even more unnerving, because a fox call just kind of sounds like a scream, doesn't it? Because it's like ah. Which might be even more frightening to hear than silence. But walking into a forest and then hearing none of that just makes you go, what happened? What? Or the more scary for, what exactly has stopped all the noise? So much of even the animals who basically have no disregard for human sensibilities of like enjoying the peace and quiet are now absolutely deathly silent. It's like we're hiding from something. So yeah, but basically what I mean is a quiet place. I keep thinking it's called a silent place in my head for some reason. Plays around with that very well. If you don't know what the concept is, I mean, I'll talk more about it because we're going to watch the second one today, hopefully. But it plays around with that idea of the monsters that can only hear you. And they have like some supersonic hearing or something which they can sometimes activate. To try and pick out their prey. I don't know what other motivation they have, but don't think about it too hard. It's a horror movie. It's that's even more frightening. A monster killing you for no apparent reason, not even for like sustenance or anything. It has no regard for your human life, or whatever life you have. If you're like, I don't know, a dog listening to this, that'd be strange. But you know, you do you. Yeah. So the uneeriness of silence is always pretty cool. And I feel like media should play around with it a lot more than they often do. Like, I'm almost kind of astonished that no one's taken this sort of formula before and already made a movie out of it. I mean, we have like whole genres of silent movies and using much more visual medium to convey both conversations and that sort of thing. Although in this movie they used sign language, which is fair enough. That is like a pretty fair adaptation for people to use because they have a deaf daughter. the entire family knows sign language. That feels pretty reasonable. I wonder if the actual actress herself is deaf. Or is she just acting? That's called acting. I don't know, I didn't look it up. That'd be cool if she is deaf. Hold on, let's see. A giant cicada. A quiet place. And yeah, especially in horror. Because like, horror is kind of like the #1 place for you to actually mess about with it, right? She is a deaf actress. Cool. You know, she looks a lot like the person in Hereditary. Who's the actress from Hereditary? Hereditary. Minnie Shapiro. Millicent Simmons. They look similar. Don't at me. Kind of. Okay, maybe... I mean, there's passing similarities, but... now I think about it, maybe not so much. But yeah, horror should really utilise it as a medium more. Especially because horror itself is... I'm not going to say all of it is based around jump scares, but a huge amount of games basically try and rely on jump scares to startle people, and there's definitely no two ways about it. Jump scares are scary, you know, but not in a necessarily enjoyable way. It feels cheap, you know. It's a cheap scare. Like, the whole point of horror is to have that sort of rising tension, make your hair stand on end, that sort of thing, as you hold your bated breath as you slowly open the door, peek around it, see if it's maybe okay or not, and the game sort of baits you around, being like, ooh, something's around the corner, and there's all that anticipation of a jump scare. But of course, if you use it incorrectly, your jump scares can just be cheap and worsen the experience, just being like, oh, boo, haha, we got you, you know. It's just like alright then. It's like adding artificial difficulty or something just by making enemies bullet sponges. It's not satisfying. It doesn't challenge or even add much atmosphere to the player, and it feels undeserved and unrewarded. Not saying that horror games shouldn't have jump scares, but they should. That usually is the big payoff, I suppose, in the end, is the cycle of like the tension and release over and over again, or building up the tension through the atmosphere and that sort of thing, and then releasing it with a jump scare, just so you can start the cycle and renew again. Otherwise, if you just build up tension the entire time, it's going to be insanely stressful to play a game. Actually, now I think about it, I'd like to see a game like that, where basically there's no release. No jump scare, or very, very infrequent jump scares. But I'd imagine it would not be very popular, because it'd be, one, as I say, incredibly stressful to play the game, and two, I guess by the knowledge of that there's very few jump scares would kind of make you complacent to them in the first place, and be like, oh, there's no jump scares, there's nothing to be scared of in the first place. So you can't have 0 jump scares, I suppose. As a cicada shell, which luckily doesn't react to us. Alright. Alright then. See how it is. So creep forward, trying to... Because I'm a creep, I'm a weirdo. Okay, what other Nookmile missions can we do? I've not really been paying attention. Plant flowers, plant fruit tree, dig up fossils, change clothes. You change your mind like a girl changes clothes. Yeah, you be a mess. Yeah, something on eeriness, silence. There's something else I want to say, but I can't remember what. There's something else I wanted to add on to all of this, but alas, it escapes me. It was something about the horror games and the usage of silence. I know, because, I mean, certainly it happens a lot more games, because I feel like Amnesia did a pretty good job of this. I don't really remember all that well, though. Did Outlast do a good job of this? I don't really remember. I haven't actually played Outlast. I don't even know if I've got Outlast. Maybe I do. I've got Amnesia. I don't even think I've played Amnesia either. I haven't played all of the Five Nights at Freddy's, because I'll be honest, they're kind of boring to play on your own. At least I find it, if it's not like because I don't know. The way I'd put it is that horror games tend to have most of the enjoyment being in the tension and the horror and the release and that sort of thing, but as I say, my mild reactions are pretty mild, and I guess very unsatisfying, even for myself to pay attention to. When if I get scared in the game, I'm just like, oh, or whoa, or I'll just be like, all right then. Which, you know, call it Schadenfreude. I like seeing people not get legit terrified, but be able to get jump scared and then be able to laugh at it afterwards, you know, that sort of thing, which is why I much prefer playing it with friends. Like, it just ended up being really boring when I played Five Nights at Freddy's by myself. And you might just be like, yeah, I mean, okay, it's kind of a boring game. I mean, like, yeah, yes and no. It's a simplistic game, definitely, but I feel like most of the enjoyment you get from horror games is out of tension itself, and the mechanics themselves aren't necessarily groundbreaking or meant to be groundbreaking, because it's, in my opinion, it would be quite hard to sort of multitask when trying to focus on deep, complex mechanics while also trying to, you know, not freak out and survive at the same time. Like we have out with Little Nightmares, mechanics in Little Nightmares are insanely simple. You just got like run, jump. The puzzles aren't very puzzly, despite the fact I got stuck on some of them a couple of times. One of them was to do with my understanding of mechanics rather than necessarily the actual puzzle themselves being all that difficult. What happens in like Five Nights at Freddy's couldn't be simpler, you know? Look at cameras, click on doors to open and close buttons. Like maybe you need some Twitch reactions if Foxy comes running down the door to you. Oh man, I just remember. Like the best time I've had playing Five Nights at Freddy's was watching some of my uni friends play it. And they obviously hadn't played it before because they weren't as much big gamers as me a lot of times. But they obviously didn't know about Five Nights. Well, we knew what Five Nights at Freddy's was, but never played it. And then watching one of my friends play it, he was pretty decent. And then suddenly he got attacked by Foxy. He made it on like the third night or whatever, and he saw Foxy charging down the hallway, and everyone just went whoa, and all jumped back, and I was just there like, ho ho ho, isn't that fun? Well, I thought it was fun. I guess it kind of is a bit of Schadenfreude, you know, seeing other people get scared in a way that is not dangerous, you know. That's the important part. Seeing people scared in like real life situations, which are actually scary, not cool, not fun, not amusing in the slightest. Seeing people get scared in a video game, which obviously cannot, I don't say obviously can't hurt them, because I guess you can get like psychological trauma or anything like that, like a heart attack maybe, but in most aspects is designed not to actually inflict long-lasting pain or hurt on people. That is fun, you know. It's like a roller coaster, getting a thrill from riding a roller coaster, even though your brain subconsciously thinks, oh my god, I'm gonna die. When in actuality, you're completely safe because it's been constructed by many years of experience and engineering practice put into place, and safety mechanisms upon safety mechanisms and checks upon checks and that sort of thing, just to make sure that it's safe. So, you know, and that's tends to be why I don't feel particularly not scared of roller coasters. I just more find them fun, I suppose, exciting, thrilling, as they should be. Rather than necessarily scary, because I guess my brain sort of weirdly rationalised it, being like, you know, this roller coaster wouldn't be open if I had the chance, well, had a more reasonable chance to die on it. And I'm not going to say that like the percentage chance of mortality doesn't go up necessarily when you ride a roller coaster, but it probably goes up from like 10 to the minus 18% to 10 to the minus 17% or something. Okay, maybe that's a bit low. Those numbers, but still, like 1 in a billion to 1 in 900 million or something. It's like, you know, those are pretty good odds. Maybe like a freak accident happens where, I don't know, like every single safety check for some reason fails consecutively in a row and no one saw it coming, that sort of thing. But that doesn't happen. That only happens in like Final Destination movies, so you don't really need to worry about that sort of thing, is my sort of view on it. And just, you know, chillax, or not chillax, more like hype yourself up and enjoy the ride. It's basically what it comes down to. I trust in the engineers who basically constructed everything and put their due diligence in making sure everything's exactly safe, and it's been tested and had many dry runs through where they use like sacks of potatoes or something instead of human bodies, just to make sure that no one would ever get injured on it. And they've done it like 100 times in a row and had 0 fatalities or 0 injuries. Perfect, you know. I put my life in your hands, in your very, very safe, secure and seat buckled up sort of hands. What did I talk about today? I don't know. Silence, maybe. You know, silence serves as a foundation of creativity or something like that. Let's round this episode off here because I have no idea what I'm talking about. So if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Dear Darling. Likes, comments, subscription shares are greatly appreciated. Join my Dear Darling Discord down below. Follow me on Twitter. I hope we can see each other again. But for now, it's our farewell. So until next time, bye bye for now.